Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here. I'm Sangram More, and today I will be talking about an important topic that has a profound importance in economies, businesses, and even in our daily lives. It is the Federal Reserve interest rates, commonly called as Fed rates. So, the Fed rate is the interest rate at which commercial banks borrow and lend their excessive money reserves to each other overnight. It is not just an internal banking number. It's a powerful tool used by US Federal Reserve to control factors like inflation, managing economic growth, and also influencing employment levels. When the Fed rises or lowers rates, it triggers a ripple effect across the economy, affecting things like mortgages, rates, car loans, your credit card bills, and even investment strategies as well. Um, so, why are these Fed rates so important? Mm, the Fed rates are critically important because they guide the overall health of the economy. For instance, rising rates tend to cool down inflation, but can also slow economic growth. On the other hand, lowering rates make borrowing cheaper and encourages spending and investment. But it can all also risk overheating the economy if done excessively. So the policymakers must strike a delicate balance. Too much of either action can cause a recession or a term called runaway inflation. So how these Fed rates affect peoples and businesses? Change in Fed rates are not abstract, they affect us directly. If the Fed increases rates, you notice higher monthly payments on your credit cards or mortgages. Moreover, business may face higher cost of finance, expansion, or operation. Similarly, when rates drop, it can boost consumer confidence, making borrowing cheaper and stimulating growth. So, in short, Fed rate movements shape how much we save, how much we spend, and even how much we invest. Uh, so, what was my motivation behind this project? In this project, I set out to explore the patterns behind Fed rate changes using real-world economic indicators. By analyzing historical data and building predictive models, the goal was to better understand and even anticipate future Fed rate changes. Because if we can predict rate changes early, individuals, businesses, and other investment uh, organizations can make smarter financial decisions. Now that we have a basic understanding of what Fed rates are, uh, let's go on to the research goals of this project. The main goal of my research was simple but powerful. I wanted to predict future movements of the Federal Reserve interest rates by looking at important economic indicators like inflation, GDP, and unemployment. My aim was to uncover hidden patterns that might hint at whether the Fed will raise or lower its rate in future. Uh, and I'm not just trying to guess if rate will go up or down. The deeper goal was to build a model that can recognize how the economy behaves before the Fed actually makes a move. I wanted to find out which factors matter the most. For example, does a rise in inflation immediately signals a rate hike, or does slowing economic growth predicts a rate cut? By answering these questions, we move a step closer to understanding how the economy signals its need and who would benefit from this project. So this research is not just for economists or government officials. Businesses can benefit by planning investment or expansion based on expected rate changes. Banks and lenders can adjust their interest rates and lending strategies. Moreover, everyday people like you and me can make smarter decisions about mortgages, loans, savings, and investment. So, in short, anyone affected by borrowing or saving or investing, which is nearly every one of us, can benefit from a better understanding of Fed rate predictions. Now, uh, the goals are clear, and we'll move towards how I collected the data and what was the data preparation steps. So for this project, I gathered data directly from the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, which is like the authority body for Federal Reserve uh, of United States. Using the Fed API, one of the most reliable source for economic and financial data. Using the API, I collected important indicators such as interest rates, GDP figures, inflation measurements, employment rates, and consumer price indices. The data was retrieved using Python programming language in order to maintain accuracy, consistency, and ensure real-time updates whenever needed. Uh, Initially, the data which I collected was in CSV file, and each file contained information for specific economic metrics. So to make the data useful for modeling, I developed a script to merge these individuals files into a single comprehensive data set. During this process, I also cleaned and standardized the data to maintain uniformity so that all figures aligned properly and could be seamlessly used for analysis and machine learning. As you can see, this was the data before. There are a lot of null values and zeros indicating there was no record of this data. But using fill NA functions and other data cleaning techniques, I inputted values which were closely resembled with its uh, rows preceding or exceeding these values. So let's talk about the main part, like what machine learning algorithms I used and how it helped me. After building and testing multiple machine learning models, several findings stood out that directly helped advance the goal of my project. Uh, Starting with supervised machine learning, like decision tree. The decision tree model performed very strongly. It offered not only high predictive accuracy, but also easy interpretability. By visualizing, tracing the splits between on indicators like inflation and unemployment, I could directly see which features were most influential in predicting Fed rates. Mm, there would be a link to this image in the description below. Moving on to other ML models like logistic regression, um, it showed a solid result. It captured the general upward or downward trend effectively, even though it assumed a simple linear relationship between the features and the Fed rate movements. It was quite impressive that how a simple model can capture this trend. Moving further, I also used a naive-Bayes algorithm. Uh, I actually used three of its kinds. It was like multinomial naive-Bayes model, Bernoulli's naive-Bayes model, and categorical naive-Bayes model. Uh, they all showed mixed performances. While they were fast and easy to implement, they struggled to match the accuracy of models like decision tree and model like SVM, which will be the next slide. Naive-Bayes model uh, held it difficult uh, to find the perfect fit because of heavily correlated data. Moving on to SVMs, support vector machines. Um, Among all models, support vector machine with specifically the RBF kernel delivered the highest accuracy, offering powerful, flexible decision boundaries and that handle subtle economic shifts as well. So between these simpler models, SVM performed the best. I also moved on into unsupervised learning models in order to find the hidden relationship between these economic parameters and Fed rates. Uh, I explored clustering. Here, I used techniques like k-mean and dbScan to group economic conditions based on the indicators. This analysis revealed that even without being told what the Fed rates was. The data naturally formed distinct clusters, often corresponding to low, medium, and high interest rate periods. This supported the idea that economic indicators alone carry enough information to predict future Fed rate behaviors. I also used association rule mining, um, a technique often used in market uh, basket analysis, but here adapted to economic patterns. And as you can see, interestingly, association rule mining revealed strong relationship between specific economic scenarios, such as rising consumer price index, often co-occurring with rise Fed rates. This provided an entirely different view into the data. Rather than building model, it exposed a natural if-then pattern. Like for example, if inflation increases and unemployment remains low, then the probability of Fed rate hike increases significantly. I also used principal component analysis lastly to reduce the complexity of dataset. Even though there were many indicators, PCA showed that much of these variability could be explained by just two or three combined factors, like uh, just two factors contribute to around 70% of the underlying patterns. Mm, In simpler terms, this means that a handful of economics signal driven most of the Fed's decision making, an insight that allowed me to make my model faster and even more accurate by focusing on the powerful indicators. Lastly, but not least, I used ensemble techniques wherein you combine multiple ML models to get an average answer or to strengthen the pattern recognition techniques. Uh, After further testing and a deep analysis, one model in particular stood out, the random forest clustering. Random forest, which builds many decision trees and averages that result, achieves an impressive 97% accuracy on my data. This was the highest performance of all the models I have ever tested. What this means is, in simpler terms, is that when many small decision makers, in this case decision trees, come together, the collective wisdom predicts future Fed rate changes extremely well. Random forest shows that the pattern between economic indicators and Fed rates movements are strong, and they can be captured reliably when the right method is used. And as you can see on the graph as well, inflation price, GDP, and real GDP are the most contributing factors in order uh, for Feds to change their rates accordingly. So my final reflections was that across all these methods, one clear theme emerged. Economic indicators do indeed up, uh, signal upcoming Fed rate changes, and machine learning can uncover these significantly, whether through predictive modeling, clustering, association rule mining, or by other ML techniques like ensemble learning, or just using normal machine learning models. And even better technique provided a different angle of understanding, improving both predictive power and um, interpretability. So what's the conclusion here? As as we come to an end of this presentation, let's reflect on what we set out to achieve and what we discovered along the way. When I began this project, the goal was clear to predict future movements of US Federal Reserve interest rates and to understand what economic signals lead to those movements. Throughout building multiple models, I found out that each model uh, offered a different perspective on how the economy speaks through its numbers. And I also learned that no single method gives the full picture of what it really is. Also, this research demonstrates that Fed rate movements are not random. They are deeply connected to measurable economic indices like inflation, GDP, and unemployment rate. By combining these indicators carefully and by using powerful ML techniques, It's possible to anticipate economic shift before they are offered. They are formally announced by Federal Reserves. Uh, so these findings are not just for academic purposes; they have real world implications as well. Business can better plan investments. Financial institutions can fine tune their strategies beforehand, and individual people like us can make more informed decisions about saving and borrowing and also investing. So my final thought in conclusion is that this project shows how powerful machine learning can be when applied through thoughtfully to real-world economic challenges. By tapping into the hidden patterns of the economy, we can move from being reactive to being proactive, not just responding to Fed rates, but anticipating them. Uh, Thank you.